Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and Happy Holidays, however you define it. I hope everybody has a great holiday. Before we all scatter to the winds to drink copious amounts of spiked eggnog, I thought it would be best to give everybody a little bit of good news as regards the upcoming coronavirus vaccine program. So, as I'm sure you've heard, we already have a vaccine that is in mass distribution. That is the Pfizer one. Of the ones that are coming, this is actually the one I am personally least interested in. For one, Pfizer does not have a record with vaccines. This is their first. So we're seeing all the sorts of hiccups with distribution and testing and regulatory issues that you would expect from people who are doing it for the first time. That doesn't mean it's bad news. It just means we shouldn't have sky-high expectations for this one. There's enough that's already been manufactured to inoculate all healthcare personnel, so that's about 22 million people, by mid-January. And that's great, but it does require ultra-cold distribution and storage at negative 70 degrees. And that means we're already facing shortages of dry ice in the Northeast, and we haven't even had 1 million people get inoculated yet. So it's good news, but it's not crazy good news. Better news is the next one up, Moderna. Now, like the Pfizer one, it requires 2 shots. But unlike Pfizer, Moderna has been in the vaccine business for a while. So they're producing their doses faster. They're going to get out faster. In fact, distribution starts today, December 20. So I expect a month, 6 weeks from now, that 3 times as many people will have gotten the Moderna vaccine as will have gotten the Pfizer, just because they are a more experienced company and their distribution doesn't require that negative 70. It only requires a conventional freezer, negative 20. So for Pfizer, this is an interesting little blip. And for Moderna, this is their bread and butter. They're very good at this. There's a third one coming out. Oxford. Now, Oxford had some problems with the first wave because a lot of people accidentally got a half shot. So they went back later and gave those people a second full shot. So we've got people who got a full shot, who got a half shot, who got a shot and a half. And because of that, that broke down the data numbers. So instead of 60,000 people all in the same trial, we basically had a half a dozen different trials. And none of them had enough people in them to give a really good hardcore data. Now, even in the worst case, the Moderna still cleared 60% protection, and 50% was kind of what we were hoping for. So it's not like it's a bad result, but it's going to take them a few extra weeks to test it on a few more people and get data that is actually gives us what we need to make a decision. Now, in the longer run, 6 months or so, I expect the Oxford vaccine to actually outsell both Pfizer and Moderna combined. A couple of reasons. Number one, it's not that new mRNA method that you have heard of before. It's a more traditional manufacturing system, so they can produce it faster. Second, it doesn't require freezing at all, just refrigeration. So 4, 5, 6 months from now, I have no doubt that Oxford will be used by more people than the first 2 combined by a significant margin. But the one I'm really interested in is the Johnson & Johnson formula. Now, it's not mRNA, and it's a single shot, and it doesn't require refrigeration. So we should have Pfizer in circulation already, Moderna circulation today, Oxford circulation probably by February 1, and then probably sometime in March we'll get J&J. The J&J one is the one that will make or break this, and it'll probably do so in a pretty short time frame. The fact that you only need 1 dose per person means you only need half as many doses, and we will already have a distribution set up for the first 3, so it can just piggyback into all of that. In fact, it can go into every doctor's office because it doesn't have any onerous storage requirements. So, we are looking at mass inoculation of the population probably starting in early to mid-March, which is honestly like 3 months ahead of schedule. I consider this a really good news. And we'll probably be able to get 75% of the population inoculated within a couple of months, especially once J&J is in the equation. That means the economy can then start healing over the summer, and by the time we get to August or probably September, things will be back to normal-ish. I don't want to overplay it. That's kind of getting into economics, and that's a whole other story. Just one other bit of news. I'm sure that you have heard that there is a new strain of COVID-19 circulating in the UK that has had some mutations. I don't want to appear dismissive, But for those mutations to cause a problem for us, they would have to be really extreme and not just one. You're talking dozens, if not thousands. The issue is the spike protein. That's the part of the coronavirus that bonds with your cells in order to infect them. All 4 of the vaccines are designed to target the spike protein. And for the spike protein to sufficiently change so that the vaccines don't work, it probably would have to change so that it can't infect us. Think of it this way. Think of the spike protein as a fork. If it changes to a 2-tined fork, the virus is still vulnerable to the vaccine. The vaccine can still recognize it. It's still a fork. But if it changes to a rutabaga, well, then it can't infect us at all. And so it doesn't matter what the vaccine does. So with the data we have right now, it suggests that there's no change in terms of which versions of coronavirus the vaccine needs to go after. It can go after them all. Okay, I hope that leaves you in a little bit better spirits. I hope everybody has a happy holidays. I know I'm going to do my best. But regardless, I will see you in January. Take care, everyone.